Hello, everybody, and welcome to Across the Spectrum U.S. Political Discussions. I'm Kelvin Hawthorne, joined with three of my, new show colleague guys.
We
So,
panel folk. That's
so
what they
yeah,
call panel folk.
yeah, my political panel people, my PPPs. And so today we're just going to discuss our political views, where we are in the political spectrum, and we're going to start with you, Georgian. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So, hey folk. Y'all don't know me. My name's Proud Georgia. Just call me Georgia. Um, as you can probably tell, um, I have a nice accent. I know it's beautiful, but no phone calls. Um, I am a conservative Democrat. Uh, I'm a hardcore blue dog. I'm a social conservative, and I'm fiscally more towards the center, but leaning right on some things and leaning left on other things. And so overall, that's basically me.
Hey, I'm Jess. I'm a conservative libertarian or libertarian conservative, whichever way you want to go. I am right. I'm pretty far right economically, though. I believe there should be restrictions on monopolies, stuff like that. But I am also fairly socially conservative, though there are some issues that I'm more libertarian on.
Okay, I'm Kelvin. I introduced myself in the beginning. I am moderate centrist Democrat is how I would call myself. And basically what I believe in is uh, more freedom, I guess, when it comes to economic views. So I'm more fiscally Republican or fiscally conservative. That would be the correct definition. And then more socially liberal. So I kind of split that in the center. Um, Gaming, it's all you.
Yes, okay. So as Kevin said, my beautiful, sexy name is Gaming is Life. Uh, but just call me Gaming because no one wants to say my full name. Because it's cringy. It's cringy. Oh, okay. For anyone wondering why I named myself that, it's because I made it when I was 12. So
You was in that teen phase, y'all.
yeah. Yeah. Anyways,
there's a thing called change name.
I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy. Okay. So I'm just gonna go straight to the facts. Economically, I'm more of a social democrat. Socially, I am a liberal, but there are certain things I'm more conservative on, such as abortion. So I guess if we were gonna put a name in it, I'm a pro-life, pro-abortion. No, I'm sorry,
Okay.
pro-life, progressive, but even that I would say is kind of going a little bit too far. I kind of moved a little bit more right from progressivism, but yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so let's start out by going over some of our personal views period, and I guess we can start. Do we want to start with social or economic issues? I mean, social issues is what is surrounding the government now.
I mean, let's start with social because that way people don't fall asleep. And then
then we'll work
economics.
our way up.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start this, and then gaming you can go, and then we'll start from there. On the topic of social issues, I guess morally, I have two beliefs. I have a moral belief and I have a political belief. When it comes to this, I'm religious. I go to church. I'm Christian. Okay, so morally, I would never recommend abortion for anybody in my family, nor would I allow abortion for anybody in my family if I had any control over it, if that makes sense. But politically, it is a constitutional right. That can't be argued, unless you want to argue with the highest court in the land, which I don't think anybody wants to do at this point. And so Roe v. Wade allows free, safe, legal, and rare abortion, safe and legal abortions for women. Morally, I just say, it's not a very good thing, but politically, you can't prevent it. It's constitutional, just like you can't prevent any other constitutional right. So, next topic would be on the topic of gay marriage. There's no problem with it. I think openness about gender has come a little too far than it should be in modern society, if you know what I mean. You guys following me here, you know what I mean.
Yeah, we get you.
But I do believe that it is the person's choice, and if they make the choice, then that is their fundamental right, that is their fundamental belief, and the government certainly can't contradict that. Another social issue, I guess. Is there another social issue that's really big enough to discuss?
Gun rights. That's
gun rights. Yeah. Now I'm one of those Democrats where everybody's like, "You're trying to take our guns away." That's just totally false.
Not all the way, but all right.
Oh, it's pretty much false, but I just don't see the harm in having a little extra background check to own a gun. If you're not going to cause problems with your gun, then you shouldn't be afraid, or you shouldn't be threatened by taking an extra background check or two, or an extra training session or two. It's certainly not a problem. It just ensures extra protection for United States citizens, and I think that is important when it comes to modern day America. So, yeah, I think that's about it now at this point.
All right, Gaming, you want to go next?
I'll go next. Yeah, you know what's up. Okay, let's start with socially. Abortion, I am pro-life in all cases. So yes, that means all cases. Don't hate me. I'm saving you. The social justice warriors is now outside my house, ready to kill me.
You used to be one.
Okay, a little bit too far. I was never a social justice warrior.
All right. I'll give you that. You ain't go off the deep end. All right.
Just let some people.
Okay, I mean,
I wouldn't know.
So that's that. In gay marriage, LGBTQ. I'm legally I'm fine with it. Socially and morally, I'm not. Actually, legally, you see, with that, I kind of have a problem. I won't say why, but I just do, of deciding which side I'm on particularly. Personally, I mean, I no, but morally and socially and politically, I'm sorry, I don't know. So I can't really help you. And then gun rights, I'm just gonna give it straight to the facts. Name me one person who needs an AK-47.
No one.
I mean, you want me to do it right now? Or?
Yeah, name me. The only person I can think of that needs an AK-47 is soldiers fighting in the battlegrounds. Unless it's used for decorational purpose, like the gun does not work. It's just there to
I agree with him. I don't think there's a reason people need to be showing off and taunting people with their AK-47s in public just to show their Second Amendment right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you want to own an AK-47, I have no problem with it. But my problem is them legally being able to take it outside their house on their shirt and stuff. The only thing I would agree.
The fire alarm went off. Just keep on going.
Yeah. The only guns I would agree with, taking it out for like emergency cases is pistols. But how you going to pop up an AK-47 real quick in an emergency case?
We can.
Yeah, man, you gotta be pretty fast. So, restrict those types of guns for hunting and
all right.
firing ranges and stuff.
I want to take this one last, so Jesse, go ahead.
Wait. And more background checks, and that's practically it. Not really banning these guns, but yeah.
Yes, nice you.
All right. Well, I gotta admit, in some areas I wholeheartedly disagree with my friends here, but when it comes to abortion, morally, I'm completely pro-life. I guess political wise, I would be too. But I mean, if I was, a senator or a congressman or something, I would probably, I would be willing to, negotiate to like rape and incest would be like exceptions. But morally, I even think that is still violating the right of life. I don't think it's a constitutional right to kill someone, or even
it's not really killing anybody. I mean, the CDC.
I mean, it is.
It is killing somebody. Though.
It is.
I mean, yeah, like even if we disagree on that, we can both agree it's a potential life. And with more and more technology progressing, and we could if you're going with the argument about if it's outside of the womb that it's a life, then there's technology. Then there's eventually going to be, and there's research into technology that will allow for that to happen in a lot earlier stages. So I believe life begins at conception, and I guess that's that. On gay marriage, I am I like morally, I think it's a sin, but because I'm Christian, but legally, I basically say it's either up. I basically go, to the 10th Amendment on that one. I'd say it should be up to the states, or in general, we should just privatize marriage overall, or better yet, have civil unions, because the reason why Christians dislike that is because it's ruining something that they believe is holy in between a man and a woman. With civil marriage, you get all the same benefits except it not being blessed by a preacher, like a priest.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good compromise. For guns, I believe in the Second Amendment wholeheartedly. Honestly, my question to all these people who are for such restriction is: there's already a black market when it comes to guns. Why would you want to take why would you want to limit the number of people who
I think
training
background. When it comes to that, folk would more usually say like it's a gun pandemic, as there's like statistical mass shootings and things
like it's if you want to do something bad with a gun, you're more likely just going to get off of the black market, and instead of having to go through a bunch of background checks and stuff like that.
Let me pull this back for a second, because if you think about it, the text of the Second Amendment actually doesn't grant you the right to carry a gun in public. It grants you the right to have a gun in the case of a well-regulated militia, and that includes a state militia or a militia to protect the state.
That's where I disagree. By well-regulated militia, I believe that it's the people having the power to defend themselves against an oppressive government.
Exactly. And
that is not true. It is the right to protect.
What will be the point of having the government regulate everything? What happens if the government goes south? The people can't defend themselves.
But you think about it like this. Well, that's when states fight back, like they did in the Confederacy.
Okay.
Which shouldn't have even happened.
But let's read it here. I have the Constitution. I've read it plenty of times.
I think we've all read it.
Militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed.
It's all part of the Constitution. It's all part of one amendment. Being necessary.
Notice the commas.
Free state.
Yeah, and if we regulated guns to such an extent, we wouldn't be the thing we want to avoid is becoming a police state, and ultimately that's what most gun control organizations. You can look up. You can look up every single policy. that they have on the internet, on their websites?
Gun control is not taking
the Second Amendment was because they were afraid.
Gun control is okay. So there are two types of people who are for gun control. One of them is ultra restriction, and the other one is like me, adding extra background checks. Nothing hurts with extra background checks. If I'm a person and I own a gun shop, obviously, with the point about the black market, obviously that's true.
I mean, that, but we don't.
Let me just add on real quick about this whole debate. First of all, many of the times when someone kills a person with a gun, it's not because they want to use it for bad purposes. It's simply because at the moment they were pissed. They have anger issues, and hey, they had a weapon. They took it out and blah blah.
Well, if they have anger issues, they should have a gun in the first place, and that's where background checks are very.
A lot of times, those are black market guns. Now,
a lot of times they aren't, though. Too. A lot of the times they aren't.
Las Vegas shooter, all the ammunition and guns he had were bought in the gun.
I think the issue is. I think the issue is like we're both tacking on one side. We're both tacking on one side, or I think we're tacking on one side or the other. Because somebody's mentioning the black market, and that's a truth. And a lot of people know that's true, especially folk that live in big cities. They know there's some undercover stuff going on. And you also have the fact that our system for background checks is very flawed. And I'm not gonna lie, we can definitely
fix it. Then you have to reform it. Reforming it doesn't start with taking away.
I don't see the reason why. I don't see the reason. Like some things just make no sense to an extent.
If you're being a political special interest to the feet and to. If you're being a political special interest to the feet of the NRA, that is absolutely unacceptable. The NRA is a private organization. No, we're going to pull this back for a second. We're going to pull this back to political views. If you seriously want to sit here and tell us that the Democrats have to defund Planned Parenthood, then we can sit here and tell you we get to defund the National Rifle Association.
I'm okay with
the same difference. You guys, most conservatives are political special interest at the feet of the National Rifle Association.
Okay,
that's unacceptable.
That is a complete piece of crap, and you know it.
That is not. I said most conservatives. I wasn't.
Regardless of this.
No. Most conservatives.
If conservatives just so happen, a lot of them do. If they
let's do this orderly. Let Jess talk. Let Jess talk.
You in line with the NRA. All of a sudden, they're like, "No, really."
Hold on. Let Jess talk. Let's do this orderly.
All right. So, well, first of all, going back to what you guys were talking about with assault rifles and guns of that nature. Or I believe one of you guys, I think it was Gaming for Life, right? Or Gaming is Life. I've mentioned that a lot of those guns, should only be seen in the military. Well, I've heard, a lot of people
not exactly, Jess. Sorry to interrupt.
You said that referring to AK-47s.
Okay, no, I said AK-47s as an example. What I meant was assault rifles should not be seen in public. It should only be seen in the firing range.
So when it comes to the topic of concealed carry, I don't see a problem with that. But there's no concealed carrying assault weapons.
Even then, let's look at it this way. If you're going to ban any gun, you should be wanting to ban handguns, because those commit more murders and more crimes and have killed more people. Well,
very true. That's very true.
Actually,
instead of
no, because you can conceal handguns. You cannot conceal assault weapons. Assault weapons are not.
But then you have the conflicting facts. So if you're gonna say no to assault weapons, but handguns are the cause, and this is factually proven, handguns are the cause of most mass murders.
Not in 2017.
If you want to say
the more mass murders we see, the more mass
murders
we continue going through.
Unconstitutional.
The more mass murders we see as we go through, modern day America are committed by assault weapons. We're seeing an increase in that.
All right, what you see on the news isn't what's factually there.
No, it actually is what's factually there, because there are more handguns.
Let's go to the next.
There are more handgun cause mass shootings than assault rifle mass shootings.
Guys,
Handguns were used more in the past. Assault weapons are used today. That's why majority of the 2017 mass shootings in the United States were committed by assault weapons. Why do so many people die with assault weapons, but most conservatives are sitting there to defend assault weapons? Why is that? Why are we allowing this to continue to happen, yet you don't want to reach a common sense basis, a common sense standard to negotiate a way to at least stop these mass shootings?
Like I said earlier, you mentioned there was that mass shooting. I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was in that small town in Texas. That man with his record and his past should have never been able to get a gun. So, like
exactly.
I said,
exactly.
No,
but like, you are continuing.
No. Here's the problem. And I would, like I said, I would help fix the background check system because it's obviously broken in a lot of places.
Let's do it. But conservatives are so adamant on ensuring that everybody has a gun, even those who are evidently have problems. That is not true. The Second Amendment does not guarantee the right to bear.
I mean, what are you talking about, conservatives?
The Second Amendment. The conservative part of the United States government seems to believe that it is absolutely perfect for anybody to have a gun. That's not true. Not everybody deserves a gun. It's common sense. It's common.
Just keyword what Kevin said. Most conservative in the United States.
Let me finish. Conservatives are all over Muslim surveillance, yet they are totally against preventing them from having a gun.
Now I think that is like. That's just jacked up now.
No, it's true. It's true. Conservatives want all this Muslim surveillance.
Let me quote.
Conservatives want all these.
Wait. So you're telling me that I want to surveillance from my Muslim cousin? Really?
No, I'm saying that most conservatives,
founding fathers here. Let's see with Thomas Jefferson.
The key word.
No free man shall ever be debarred from the use of arms. Quote. I prefer dangerous freedom over free man.
Conservatives are at the conservatives control every aspect of the United States government as it stands. Most of the state governments. Most of the state government. No, that is true. That is true. Both houses of Congress.
Republicans do. Conservatives don't.
Republicans control that much of Congress. And they control the presidency.
They rather to encourage and prevent homicides for an unarmed man who may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. Just by Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, but there's a but to everything.
There's
a but to everything. There is a but to it.
That's why we have toilet paper. There's a but in everything. Yep.
Let me talk. I have not been able to talk all day. So let me talk. Let's step back, for example, for a second. We are too busy looking at the United States. Someone do me a favor, go in Europe, go check in the United Kingdom, and check the statistics from there compared to here.
I can tell you statistics because 22 years ago in 1996, the UK banned handguns for the general populace. However, even after the handgun ban for continuous 6 years, and you can look this up if you want, for a continuous 6 years until 2002, the homicide rate continued to rise, even though guns were banned. So that's a direct contradiction to what you were about to say.
Did they
eventually now, though?
Did they eventually stagnate?
They now because
they did, and
it's because they got a better hold of their
there's more government
their problems.
Yeah, it's because it's a full-on ban versus no ban at all. Like partial bans. Partial bans don't work when it comes.
Then, like in Europe, there's highly structured anyway. You can go
either way.
You can go to a state like Italy, like a country. Excuse me, not a state. I'm slow. A country like Italy, they don't have much guns, and then you go to a country like Switzerland that also it has very low gun crime, but they have relatively loose gun laws. So I think in this point, it's more of not arguing about the NRA and the Republican Party, but actually talking about this.
The top priority of the government, hold on. The top priority of the government is to protect the citizens of the United States, the 300 million citizens of the United States, not to guarantee everybody a weapon.
Well, government ain't that perfect.
Not.
We're not guaranteeing everyone a weapon.
You are essentially.
Right.
How are we guaranteeing? Okay. Obviously, the mass majority. The mass majority of conservatives would not give a gun to somebody with freaking Alzheimer's or like. Well, somebody with a mental illness.
So calling out to the conservatives and the Republicans in Congress, pass gun legislation that is common sense, that protects the good of every American. You passing gun laws that allows everybody to have a weapon.
Wait, hold on. That's the problem. Your definition of good for the American people is different from what I may consider good for the American people.
Good for the American people is protecting the American people's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the good of the American people. That is the freedom of America.
That second word you just said, liberty.
Thug life.
Liberty, but life comes before it. Before.
So you're saying they can't have the liberty to have a gun though.
It is important that we protect the lives of Americans.
Without
life, you would have no liberty or the pursuit of happiness.
Use their gun.
Georgia. The problem with the fact that what you just said, the fact that he said liberty, and that he's practically contradicting himself by saying that.
You can even look in the live chat.
If you truly believe in liberty, like full on liberty, then what would we do? We would have a complete anarchy inside our government. We would have no government. And that's
it said liberty though, that's freedom.
That there still needs to be restricted. So that
after the other in order.
I mean, I don't see it.
Hold on. No, wait.
I personally think there needs to be more background checks, and there needs to be more restrictions.
Like I said, if the background checks make sense, and if they don't,
absolutely.
Hold on. Let me speak for a second. Yeah. Like I said, I've said this at least 3 times. If the background checks can be agreed upon, and if they don't infringe on the rights of good gun-carrying folk, then there's no problem with it.
Look, okay, so we are going to put this straightforward, just like this. We look at every day there is people who are dying because of gun violence, yet conservatives and Republicans in Congress are absolutely adamant that they want to preserve the Second Amendment. And by preserving the Second Amendment, they are acting absolutely nationalist, ultra-nationalist, like the president who is sitting in the White House right now.
Now you're going there. Are you kidding? I'm a
nationalist of the United States of America.
Nationalism is only
that is not how you do that.
The U.S. Either that or Nazi Germany.
You do not.
Is nationalist when they would be considered nationalists with their immigration policy. He's saying they can deport anyone that goes against their national views or economic interests.
Look, this is how it is. There is absolutely no way that you can protect the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of all of the people if you are totally adamant on protecting both the NRA and the gun rights of every person.
I'm not.
You know what I find hilarious? No. You know what I find hilarious? Out of everybody here, you're the only one bringing up the NRA.
Because the NRA is the reason that our special interest politicians, corrupt politicians that are in Congress right now are passing these terrible legislations.
Okay.
Well, guess what? Ain't none of us in Congress though.
What other private organization grades the politicians on how well they're handing out guns?
Kevin, stop talking. Stop talking for a second. Thank you. I barely got a chance to speak here.
You guys
no. Jess,
what?
Give me a second. Let's just move on to a different topic because I'm pretty sure.
I never did
the what private organization gives grades to politicians for handing out guns to the American people? What private organization does that? None of them. None of them.
Even though the problem with that is, what organization gives out grades for baby killers? The NARAL.
No, actually,
What's it called? The pro-choice dude. I forgot the name. It's NA.
We're talking about government funded.
Live chat. Let's look at some stuff that our viewers have said.
Yeah, I didn't get to do my
Planned Parenthood is not giving out grades for killing babies. That is not the truth.
But the Pro-Choice Association of America
does not function solely around abortion. They provide education. They provide Plan B contraceptive. They provide birth control. They provide protection and education on total abstinence. That is what
and they can do. I'll tell you right now. They can do that in schools, and they can give better care, and they have given better care at local women's health centers.
Then we need to continue funding to them. I didn't say we need to raise or lower it, but conservatives as a whole usually are for totally abolishing funding to Planned Parenthood as this. That is not.
It should be.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, it should
this
be.
is providing.
I know you did not.
Check the chat. Check the live chat, guys.
Okay, we don't mute other people here. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Let's talk about our economic views.
Wait, I didn't do my social views yet though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, y'all like flew on the fringe or some crap like that.
I'm gonna quote this from Taft. He's in the live chat. And I give up too. Except I left to go to listen to CNN, and it was the exact same thing as this. So let's all like.
That's funny. Yeah. Shout out to Tim Taft, bro. Shout out to Tim Taft.
Yeah, shout out to Tim Taft, man.
Shout out to my duck dinner.
Kelvin, do you like?
Hey, so you eat that put? No, I'm
fine. No.
This is a Christian.
Helping no. Anyways,
moral YouTube channel.
Hold on, I gotta do my doohickey before we move on to economic issues. So basically, y'all know I'm a Southerner. As you've already seen, I already told you I'm social conservative. I'm a Southern. I'm a Christian, and so like y'all already seen. I do think Planned Parenthood should be defunded for many reasons. I obviously on the same wavelength as that. I think abortion should be mostly illegal. I would allow some exceptions, but I would still highly discourage them. Where I differ with every single person except Jess. As y'all know, like I said, I grew up in the South. They teach us Christian. They teach us by God. Gay marriage should not. I don't see any reason. I think it should be kept between a man and a woman. I think it should be privatized. I have no problem with civil unions, but I think that the sanctity of marriage needs to be kept by religious institutions, because I think ultimately it is a religious institution. And for the last one, well, you heard this little spat on guns, but besides certain background checks, keep like for example, no, we're not all NRA hacks, because I oppose the NRA's decision. The NRA backed bill that removed restrictions on guns for people with mental illnesses. And I don't agree with anything else. Like, y'all know, I'm from Georgia. I have no problem with the concealed carry of any gun. I don't agree with banning bump stocks. I don't think there should be any magazine regulation.
That's just advocating for another Las Vegas.
I mean, that's just what I see.
So you're advocating for another Las Vegas? Is that what you're doing?
What you're doing when you don't allow people to defend themselves.
That's not true. Nobody there was defending themselves. They were useless.
So you're saying wait. So you're telling me I want people to murder folk just because I don't believe in increased gun regulations?
We do need increased gun regulations in order to protect people. That's what we need.
happens when it backfires.
Okay. Listen, can we move on to the next thing?
Yeah, let's just move on. Let's move on. We've already had this spat. So
okay, let's move on to economic issues.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
We'll start with gaming.
Oh, okay.
Well,
then, okay. I believe. What form of economy do I believe in? I am a complete communist. Live the bourgeois. Death to the No. Being for real though, I believe in something called a mixed economy, which is a balance between socialism and capitalism, though I believe capitalism should be a little bit more on top than socialism. So think of 80% of the government capitalist, 10% or 20% is socialist. In terms of my tax rates, I believe the poor should pay less than the rich. Tax cuts on the middle class and possibly a tax raise on the rich. Corporate tax rates. I want to make it similar to where there's a tax bracket. But if I were to put one now, without that, it would be 20 to 25%. And yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
agree.
You want me to go next?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
All right. So basically, guys, I really am a blue dog. So basically, I do believe that we should have things like a little corporate tax. I still believe in higher taxes for the rich. I don't know what Jess would say. I'm guessing I'm guessing that you're in favor of a flat tax. I don't approve of any sort of flat tax. I am in favor of a bracket system. I don't agree with mostly unnecessary spending on most things. I believe in some cases a smaller efficient government, and in other cases like with education, for example, I think that we should make sure and improve things like public education. But for the most part, I'm more fiscally center. Although I do have a problem with ridiculous amounts of free trade and pro business deals, like the TPP and the although we're big farmer state, Georgia, and it's a double whammy because in South Georgia, agriculture business has improved from NAFTA. However, if you literally go to the flip side in North Georgia, you got places like Ringo, Dahlonega, they've literally been worn out because of NAFTA sending manufacturing jobs overseas. And what you could get, you'd be a cloth person or whatever. You'd get $18 an hour. Now it's only $9.50, and things like that I think are completely unacceptable. I am. Oh goodness. Before Kelvin says I'm bought out. I am morally in favor of energy independence. I don't think we should have as much reliance on foreign oil, foreign energy sources, and things like that. And yeah, that's basically the whole of it.
Is it me or Jess?
You will let some people last.
Yeah, we'll save the chill guy for last.
Chill, my behind.
Guys, I'm about to leave soon because regular car reviews.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
3 hours ago, and you know me. It's about him driving a 2JZ swap Subaru Impreza. So you were
all
right.
Yeah, I understand the word you just said, but I got you.
Okay.
Well,
I like girls.
Okay. I am an advocate for the laissez-faire style economy. I kind of agree with what gaming said. in the sense of like there's he believes in a mixed. No, I don't think the terms were necessarily correct. I think what I meant was free market, which is basically anarcho-capitalism, versus command economy, which is like complete regulation, like communism, like the purest of communism. And capitalism is kind of like a 20, maybe a 15, pretty much anarcho-cap, except it's basically nothing but protecting the consumer. That's pretty much all that matters. There's and limited, government interference. It's basically everything but, protecting monopolies, protecting against monopolies, which is what I advocate for. I feel like we're kind of at 30 right now. I think we need to do a little bit of deregulation. I mean, I support a flat tax, though I doubt it would ever get passed. I guess.
Oh, it wouldn't. No.
I would support like a 3-bracket tax, maybe a 4, or I guess the ideal would be like a 17% tax rate in replacement of the current tax system, and a family paying $52,800 or less would pay no taxes, and an individual paying $45,000 or less will pay no taxes.
Yeah, 45. Whoa.
This rate would only tax the money above the levels. So, I believe in more restriction of welfare recipients. Lower the income required to receive the welfare, but the recipient must be in the process of finding a job. If there's no evidence provided of this effort, welfare should cease within 6 months of unemployment. From the time that he's received the welfare, I should clarify. Minimum wage should be left to the states. I personally think hiring the minimum wage would be a bad thing. And I guess that's it.
Okay, my economic views have just recently changed, just on one video I watched, comparing the economy of Ted Cruz to the economy of Bernie Sanders.
Crappy.
So here's my view. I think that the government is doing way too much regulation on small businesses, way too much regulation on weaker forces in terms of corporate America. In terms of higher America, where we get into the multinational corporations and the monopolies, then I see a reason to have a little bit of regulation to control, the business sector and to prevent ripple effects. But on the flip side of that, if we're seeing weaker corporations into small businesses and private sector jobs and private sector corporations, then I would be in favor of deregulating that altogether. In terms of minimum wage, I believe that we should raise minimum wage to a solid $12 an hour, stagnate it right there. That is where our working families are going to I guess be the best at. If we raise the minimum wage any higher than that, we're going to see a massive shift of companies to automation. We're already seeing a massive shift to automation, but if we can slow that automation down any, it's going to be making sure that the minimum wage is at a decent and a compatible amount for companies that are operating in America. As for trading with other nations, I believe that products that are brought into this nation from China, from African nations, from all Asian nations, I believe that we should introduce a tariff system for that, so that we are not, so that other nations are not, completely, I guess, encircling us in our own economic views and our own economy, period. Next, as for taxes, I support a lower corporate tax rate. Obviously, there are reasons that I would say, yeah, okay, so there are loopholes. They should be paying their taxes, of course, but I believe in a lower corporate tax rate. And as for private sector tax rates, I believe in probably a 4 to 5 tax bracket system. That way, I believe that all private sector Americans should pay less than corporations. There should be no private sector American that is paying more than corporations. And in that case, that would be like the poor people still paying less and the richer people still paying more, but underneath the corporation, because Americans are not generating the income. I mean, in some cases they are, but in most cases, Americans are not generating the income that corporations are. Next, I guess the next part of this would be job creation. Job creation just starts with lower corporate tax rates. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Lower corporate tax rates, deregulation in terms of smaller corporations and small businesses. If you notice, Donald Trump has begun to create a big deregulation in manufacturing facilities and in manufacturing corporations. But what he has not done is he has not put deregulation in terms of retailers and small businesses, and that is what's going to be needed to get the rest of the economy moving, I guess you would say. So in that case, it's going to be important that we deregulate small businesses and at the same time deregulate retail corporations as well, which would be considered more of those low down corporations, because I don't think we have to worry about monopolies when it comes to retail. Also, I support supporting people in terms of opening franchises, expansion of franchises to create more jobs, and that's also evident retail positions as well, as we see in Walmart, as we see in JCPenney's, Bergner's, we see in McDonald's, and all that sort of thing. Those are all franchises.
We just say McDonald's.
So as a whole, I think I'm more fiscally conservative than anything. So I think that pretty much explains everything.
I generally agree with you. I disagree, obviously, on the minimum wage. I think if you raise it, it's going to inflate every time. I think, it's kind of crazy, talking about the gold standard, though. I do think that actually would.
In addition, I forgot to mention I am totally against TPP and NAFTA. Those coming from the Midwest, that is tied.
Yeah.
Hence why now we're called the Rust Belt. And because if it weren't for TPP and NAFTA, those old corporations, manufacturers would still be in function and there would still be jobs.
I'm going to take questions.
All right. We got any viewer question?
I think people want to ask questions, yeah.
All right, so
while we're waiting, I guess I can just counter this this view on minimum wage and say that the working person, the working family needs to have a decent wage to bring home to their family. Right now, we see that we're making about $8.25 an hour, and that's just not cutting it in terms of bringing home a living wage.
Okay, well, here's the problem I have with that. You can look, we can look at it, to history, where Germany, as the economy, as the value of their currency inflated, wages would change eventually to the point where by the time you got your paycheck, the prices for food would have changed within the next minute. And that's how you got people like Hitler into power.
I don't think it's fair. I think
that was a big jump, actually. Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to compare other countries that are less big than the United States economy to the topic of minimum wage in this country. Americans need to bring home a living wage. What that means is they need to be able to pay their utilities. They need to be able to pay for their kids' schooling. They need to be able to pay for childcare. Most of that comes with lowering taxes for private sector Americans. The other half of that comes from raising the minimum wage. People need to be bringing home a living wage. Obviously,
that's the thing.
When you're working,
wait, hold on. Wait, what's a living wage
per hour? Like we need to control the.
I want to know what's your wait. How much do you want as a minimum wage?
If you don't do anything, and then the economy will be forced to balance it out. Either that or we go to the gold standard.
Hold on, wait, back up. Minimum wage in conjunction or a minimum wage adjacent to high demand would be absolutely excellent for the economy. And if there's you know what?
It would continue to inflate. In fact, I've actually asked
but working families have to bring home a living wage. That's the entire point.
It would just hiring the minimum wage would just allow for more and more and more or automation of things.
But but I have been advocating for a $12 solid minimum wage, which corporations would adjust to quite quickly.
Still raising it. Just it's
okay,
like
okay. You are more worried about technological advances than you are about
the same thing
working families.
No, it's basically the same.
No. Like from what I saw. Wait. Hold on.
Conservatives have not won the Rust Belt. You know why? Because of this. They care more about what is happening in terms of technology and technological advances than they do about the working family.
Here's the problem with your logic.
Whoa. Hold on. Jess, I have to say something. Look, I may hate Ronald Reagan, but there you go again. Like literally. Why is every single thing? Do you really think folk would believe in a lower minimum wage because they don't care about working families? No. It's because, like Jeff said, even though I would personally be in favor of raising the minimum wage. You can't pass judgment like that because automation is a very big problem, and it can take a lot of jobs and leave just as many, if not more, people out in the cold and hungry, working class folk.
Okay.
Than having a lower minimum wage.
The problem
is to say something like that in the first place is just completely unfair.
Let working families bring home a working wage. That is what is important here.
Here's the problem.
And you know what's important? Not having machines take their jobs.
Okay, guys. Kevin, here's the problem. If you say it's just the same thing as communism, socialism, and capitalism. You're saying, okay, minimum wage age so high is not good. So we need to go for hiring it, but to a lesser extent. It's like saying, okay, well, communism didn't work, so let's try socialism. It still fails because it's the same principle. Just it's communism light. That's what socialism.
Actually, socialism. The socialism is socialism in actuality is the economic.
Hold on. Are you telling me that allowing working families to bring home a living wage is communism? Communism at heart? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm saying that you're completely wrong when you say a talk about a living wage.
A living wage needs to be brought home. There needs to be enough money to cover utilities, to cover childcare, to cover cars, technology, all that stuff. There needs to be a living wage that covers that.
That's one thing.
As the United States changes and becomes more technologically advanced, Americans need more money.
A good first job, or if you're just living alone, maybe that's okay. But if you're working to buy food for your family, then you shouldn't be working at McDonald's. You should be trying to, say, become the owner of a McDonald's restaurant. Okay.
It's not always that easy. I don't understand why conservatives think it's just that easy. Until you've lived in a community like mine.
Excuse you?
It's just not that easy. Until you've lived in a community like mine.
With Adam
Okay,
Smith.
Kelvin. Hold on. Yeah. You really need to knock this thing off. You think we don't know it's that easy? Really?
It isn't that easy. You are treating it like it is that easy.
No. Do you really think look. I can go back 4 generations. Like every single person. Do you think we're rich people? Do you really think we're rich people?
That's obviously not true, but it's not that easy.
Exactly.
It is not.
You think so?
Why?
It is not that easy for a person who is working in the workforce to be upgraded to a manager, to get a raise, And
you think so? Yeah, it's not easy.
Then stop treating it like it's easy.
Oh, who the heck? Who's treating it like it's easy?
He comes on here. He comes on here and says it like comes on like saying, "Oh well, if you want."
Okay, well that's one person. What you getting out? Wait, hold on. What you getting out of all conservatives for? What you getting out of all conservatives for, though?
Yeah, what's your question, Taft?
Oh, great.
That easy, my behind.
It isn't that easy.
You think so? Mom been broke, grandma been broke, great grandma been broke. We've been broke since before we were slaves, doggone it. What you think? You really think it's yeah? It's not that.
Pointing it at me doesn't make it any better. So try to create an economy that works for everyone.
Yeah, that's called communism. It failed. Enjoy.
No. Okay. Hold on. Just a second.
Taft asked a question for you, Kevin.
No, don't even read that. Don't read that.
What did Taft say? Hold on.
Don't read that. Don't read that.
What did he say? Wait,
I
hold
don't
on.
think that's very funny.
That's what was the viewer.
You wrong for
I don't
that.
think that's funny. I don't think that's
You wrong for that.
General opinion of the viewers.
Well, I don't think
talk
it's
in order, not
I don't think it's
scare each
appropriate.
other, not yell at each other, not insult each other.
Yeah, can we not? Because what you said was completely out of left field.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Your view on saying just become a manager made it sound seriously like it was that easy to
I
just...
didn't say just become a manager. I said you should aim for it. You should aim for that instead of just, being happy with a $12 minimum wage.
Again,
you're incentivizing people to stay in their jobs. They can make money.
No. My problem is you said you literally said, why do all conservatives that really? Why do all conservatives think that it's that easy?
My question.
I know you believe in collectivism, but
what?
We care for the individual.
No, hold on. No. Do not say that the view that you just rattled off is for the individual or for the individual working family. That is not correct.
Protects the consumer.
You are not in favor of the consumer. The consumer needs money. You're not giving the consumer money.
Therefore, the consumer should look for job growth and experience. They should not.
A person cannot just go up to their manager and be like, "I want to take your job." It's not that.
Of course not. But most people wouldn't even be incentivized to do their best job if they're living fine off of a $12 minimum wage.
But they would. They would.
Why?
Because prices of everything is going up. Prices of everything.
No, they would be completely fine. As you said, it's a living wage.
$12 an hour at minimum wage doesn't even cover the cost of life.
So then why should we raise it?
To make it easier.
Just admit your own minimum wage plan isn't a living wage. So why do you want to de-incentivize people?
I didn't admit that it was.
You just said that. That's
I didn't.
Exactly what you said.
I did not say that.
You just said that. It wasn't a living wage.
I said.
Okay.
I said that raising the minimum wage makes it easier. I said that raising the minimum wage makes it easier for consumers to pay
what you're saying
everyday
people
obstacles.
Should try and attain a higher paying job, right?
What? No.
Let me jump in since y'all have been dancing around like Bobby and Whitney or whatever. Like I said earlier, I do think we should raise the minimum wage, and I understand perfectly the argument of raising inflation and raising prices of things and government currency and all that good stuff.
Like I think we
should. I think, and like I've gotten Taft to agree with me on this. I still think that there should be a set wage by the federal government so that folk can bring stuff home. And y'all know I'm from a right to work state. our minimum wage is, what is it? I think it's like $5 or something like that.
That's not allowed.
Impossible. The federal is 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. Like, but I think like,
and right to work is terrible.
Like federally as a state, like federally is $7.50, but last time I remembered it was like $5.35 or something like that. But like, I think the main root here is that I think one thing, it's almost kind of like an instant grat. It's like, let me avoid that word. When people think of a minimum wage, it's minimum for a reason. While that might be the only thing there, if a person has, it should be raised, because at this point, like, if a person ends up in a situation, and life is very unfair, if they end up in a situation where they have to be working off minimum wage, $7.50 ain't gonna cut it. Now, I don't approve of going to 12. My personal limit will be about $10.
Okay.
But I still think that, and actually incremental increases in the minimum wage, most economists have agreed that it has net positive gains for the economy and not net negatives. Yes, so that's one thing.
What Kevin is saying is it should be solid. You shouldn't change it.
You shouldn't change it. Is that what you're saying?
That's why I said solid. Solid $12 minimum wage.
Oh my gosh. I was saying $12 solid. Not solid $12. Oh geez.
Either way. Hey, my question for you, Kevin, is
Kelvin with an L.
Kelvin. Yeah, well, he spelled his name like Kevin, so I was confused. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
Kelvin, and I have a question for you. What type of person, describe to me the average person you think should be working at the minimum wage level?
Describe what? I just
describe to me the average person you would want to see working for minimum wage.
Working minimum wage jobs?
Yes.
The average person?
Yes.
Here comes a libertarian philosopher. Oh goodness.
That's three different sectors. I would consider fast food, retail, and manufacturing.
No, I mean the type of person.
I don't
he didn't
understand.
Type of job. He meant
like
the type of
range, education, stuff like that.
Oh, a minimum wage position would be both an entry-level position, a college student, or somebody who never got a high school diploma. That would be minimum wage positions.
All right, so why would you want to make it a living wage if that was the case?
Because college students and people who didn't get high school diplomas absolutely need that.
Well, you can have a living wage, as in, you got a dorm, you can pay for one person with minimum wage already. This has been
well. What if you have a family?
Well, that's the thing. You shouldn't be working for minimum wage if that's the case.
Well, what if you don't have a high school diploma or you're a college student?
You should get a high school diploma.
Well, it's not always like that.
It's available. It's available now.
Obviously, it's available, but some people don't get it. So what if they don't get it?
Yeah, some people choose not to go back to high school.
So what do they do?
Their choice. We shouldn't.
We're not going to let people go poor. We're not going to let people go poor. I don't know what you're trying to say, but we're not going to let people go poor.
Okay. Okay. There's a saying for this. There's a saying for this. In 1992, at the DNC, the governor of my state, Zell Miller, he came forward and said this. He said, and this ain't a partisan statement. It's just a factual. It's truth to folk in this country. It said, just like leave out the Democratic Party, but he said the Democratic Party is for quote those who work but short at the end of the month. Now, what I mean is, Jess, you're right. Sometimes it's a choice, but you also have to admit. Sometimes folk just ain't luck. Like sometimes folk.
Oh, I completely
just
agree.
ain't lucky.
I just
and so like I don't know. I know what you're coming from. It's like down here they raise us. You work for everything you got. You work for everything.
And that's the thing, Georgian.
But no. Wait, hold on. I'm not done yet.
I think we should help those people. We just shouldn't address it through the minimum wage. We should address it through other means like welfare and stuff like that.
The thing, okay.
Oh, so you're for welfare, but you're against raising the minimum wage so they can pay, and we don't have to hand out welfare.
No, I'm saying
that doesn't make no sense.
No, I'm saying they can be on welfare and on the minimum wage at the same time. It's just because that can be.
So now you're spiking the national debt.
No, because the thing that's spiking the national debt are the people who don't have a job and are living off of welfare.
If you maybe if they got a job that could help them,
those people would be kicked off within 6 months.
That's terrible. Sometimes, like I said, it's
if they don't.
That's another thing. That's another thing they teach us. Like, there's something like if you were like really struggling,
if they don't have a disability
then folk would help you. But you also have to help yourself, and that's one thing where I have to agree with. I think if you're able-bodied and you're taking welfare, you have to work.
Exactly.
Because and folk will help you. There are folk will help you find a job. Like there are situations if you can't find a job, which happens a lot. There's so many ways to get through that.
Are you serious? You could go from job to job in a city, and none of them accept you. Are you serious? That right now that you're saying that people?
Who said that? Who exactly said, quote unquote, you can go from job to job and find? Wait, who said what?
Kelvin. Anyhow, if you have welfare plus the minimum wage, that minimum wage, because it's so low, will still incentivize you to improve your quality of life.
That's essentially raising the minimum wage. I don't know what you're.
And welfare will, do with health benefits and stuff like that, food stamps. You'll be okay.
That's basically raising the minimum wage.
So, no, it isn't. That's the thing.
It is.
And it applies to all people with the minimum wage. It applies to good working people who are willing.
Why are you putting forward such a comprehensive plan when you can just raise minimum wage and everything would be perfectly fine?
It wouldn't be perfectly fine though. There will be problems, just as there will be problems with Jess's plan. There will be problems with raising a minimum wage too high, for example. You have inflation.
$12 is too high.
But this is why.
If you believe in one view.
No. This is why sometimes things are hard to address because there are struggling people.
If you believe in one view,
both sides, there are struggling people who have made it through the struggle. There are struggling people who aren't as fortunate enough for that. And the problem is when we're on one side of the aisle or the other side of those two people who both were poor, they both started out with broken shoes, jacked up book bag. I think it really clouds our judgment. The thing is, we can't see through it because, as I can tell, every single person here, there's some sort of emotionally charged reasoning behind this, even if y'all don't want to admit it. But it is there.
I do.
So
hold on, just a second. I'm just saying we're at an hour and 8 minutes. So we're gonna.
I'm about to go, so you can have your own, spiel about it in a moment.
We're at an hour and 8 minutes. So I'm just saying, let's wrap this up quick.
We're ending this in like 4. We're gonna end it right at 8:35, so it's on a nice clean number.
Yeah. So when you believe in something, when you make a political view, you need to account for your whole entire belief system when it comes to politics. You can't change one thing without it affecting everything else. That's the reason why there's some views that look like amazing on paper, but then it will affect things that seem almost completely different. And on other things in which you have to address.
Hello?
I'm here. But Jess just got muted.
Did you mute him?
No. I don't know how to mute people.
No, he muted me.
No, I'm on my Gmail. It's not true.
It says across the spectrum muted you. It literally says in the chat.
Yeah, I did say that.
Okay. So anyhow,
so we only have 3 minutes, so hurry up.
Yeah, so people so he did it again. Oh wait, no, he didn't. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
I read the chat again, so I was like, oh crap.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm tired. But when people change their views on something, wait, what? Hide participants. What's going on? Okay. So when people change their political views on something, and you have to take into account every other political view. If you believe in one thing and want to change that, it can affect all the other views out there, and it doesn't fit well together. Or everyone has a big heart, I hope. Oh, but at least America as a whole has a big heart. But we also need something that works. So it's always a balancing act, no matter what side of the aisle you are, or in that we need to. You can't just change the minimum wage age and assume that nothing else is going to be affected by that. And same with any other view. You have to take into account that change and have to change everything else accordingly. That's it for me.
Okay, we have. Let's just stop this broadcast right here.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody watching. When are we having our next one? I don't remember.
I actually don't know. We'll see when it happens.
Yeah, I guess we will.
Sorry, that was a little messy. We'll try and organize everything.
Yeah, we'll start talking about current views or current events next time.
I think everyone should probably mute their mic when someone else is talking, just so that there isn't as much talking over.
I agree.
Gretchen, I'm betting half the people seeing this are probably enjoy the commentary.
Yeah.
And the arguing. Like, honestly, CNN 2.0, guys.
Okay.
Apparently Georgian got kicked or something. I don't know. Good night, everyone. Have a nice day.
Yep.